This is the Wood Dog. I am the Wood Dog, WOODDAWG. And this is my segment, Just Keeping It Real, because keeping it real is the only thing that I know how to do. As you all know, Just Keeping It Real has been in effect now for about 2 years, and I'm going to keep keeping it real as long as I'm able to, because it appears that even now, there's hot topics and there's subject matter that need to be put out to the community, the citizens of Wayne County, the citizens of the city of Detroit, and the surrounding counties of Wayne County, the state of Michigan, and this nation. And we cannot let certain people slide just because there's certain people that are worried about what people think of them just because they have something to say and what they don't say. So once again, just keeping it real by the Wood Dog, DAWG. All right, now this is my segment, as you know, and I'm gonna just get right to it. The first thing that we're gonna cover this evening is the behavior of the bishop of the Greater Grace Baptist Church, Bishop Charles H. Ellis III. Okay, Charles H. Ellis III. And we're going to get into his situation because there's a few things that about Bishop Charles H. Ellis III of the Greater Grace Temple. It's on 7 Mile Road in the city of Detroit, just west of Telegraph Road. All right, here we go. This is Bishop Charles H. Ellis. Get a good look at that picture. Charles H. Ellis. He's been the bishop over there for quite some time. He was a pastor. Now he's the bishop of Greater Grace Temple. Bishop Charles H. Ellis. As you know, just the other day, a young lady came out by the name of Melody, uh, accused him of some major infidelity in dealing with her, financing her, and helping her start a business. The videos are on my Facebook page. I'm on Facebook under my real name, Frank Wood, but as you know, I'm the Wood Dog, DAWG. Now, she released so much information on Bishop Ellis that he couldn't deny it. You know, it wasn't no sugarcoating it, trying to go over, under, or around the situation. Like I said, the videos are on my Facebook page under Frank Wood, and you can check it out for yourself and what she said. And she had the tea, she had receipts, bank receipts, and everything like that. So he's admitting to financing this woman and basically paying her for sex. Let's just keep it real because remember, keeping it real is what I do. Just keeping it real. Ain't that what I do? All right, you know how I do it. All right, he was basically paying her for sex. Now, what's the most disturbing about Bishop Ellis, Charles Ellis the third, is that this woman came from another part of the country, came to Greater Grace Temple for some guidance and probably some spiritual enlightening. Who knows? And she had a young child at the time that she became acquainted with Charles Bishop Ellis. Okay, his behavior is very similar to someone else that we all know in this community, and I'm gonna get to that in a second. Uh, Listen, she had a young child. She said that he baptized her in his office, so because she wasn't married. Okay, baptizer Charles Bishop Ellis baptizing people in the office out of the purview of another female elder in the church to be a witness. Usually, when people get baptized, there's witnesses. This is not a one-on-one situation. When you get baptized, it's for the world to see. Your family, your friends, your peers, the congregation, for everybody to see. He immediately took her under his wing. And then they engaged, from what Melody was saying, a sexual relationship. So he was blessing her new child. Well, yeah, he was blessing her child and blessing some cheeks at the same time. I mean, let's just keep it real. And this was a young child, so she just had a child, and now the child had just came into the world, and Charles Bishop Ellis is going in. Hmm. Now, I don't have to go real deep any further, other than if nobody has heard about the message that was put out, either by Bishop Ellis's publicist or himself. It's dated by him. It says a message from Charles H. Ellis III. It says, statement from Bishop Charles H. Ellis III, senior pastor. So he's mentoring other pastors with this type of behavior, sexual stuff from another woman. Okay, gotcha. I was recently made aware of social media posts shared by a former member of my congregation with whom I had an inappropriate relationship over 15 years ago. At that time, these indiscretions were addressed with my bishop in a redemptive process, which included counseling. These posts include accusations, some of which are deeply troubling and untrue. Given the nature of the several false claims being made, I have asked my legal counsel, Attorney Gerald Evelyn. I'm surprised Mr. Evelyn want to even get involved in this BS, but he is, because he's probably a member of that church, and he is an honorable man and one hell of an attorney. But I guess he got, he's a part of the congregation. He reached out. What attorney doesn't take cases? That's what they do. They defend people. And it's no reflection on Attorney Gerald Evelyn whatsoever. He is an honorable attorney, and I know him to be as such. To carefully review all matters, in particular an apparent joint bank account with my name on it, I have retained communication counsel Mario of Mario Associates LLC to assist in addressing this situation. I ask for continued prayers for myself and my family, as well as the individual and her family. My deepest hope is that all parties involved can find peace and healing. You know what this is about? This is about damage control. He's trying to control the truth that's out. He's trying to minimize the exodus of members from his church, because no church can survive without tithing. I like to see one that can't do that. But this is what this letter of acknowledgement of his behavior. And what makes it more disturbing, it doesn't matter which part in here with the bank accounts or the relationship, it never should have happened, because he is a bishop and or a pastor at that time over a flock. So what is this pastor doing, Charles Bishop Ellis? Unlike many other pastors have been exposed in the community, including law enforcement leaders, dipping down into their subordinate pool or their flock and plucking out certain individuals for sexual favors and gratification. That's all this was about. This wasn't no indiscretion. This was deliberate, and he did it. Because Melanie said he did it. She came out with her face. The video is on my Facebook page. Make sure you watch everything in its entirety, and you will become very aware that this wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. Then she even said that he helped fund a business. Now, let me get into one last thing about Charles Bishop Ellis and any other pastor of any church, any denominations, whether it's the Jewish faith, Buddhist faith, and there's so many religions, Muslim sects, Nation of Islam people. Charles Bishop Ellis, unlike most pastors, live in very exclusive communities, you know, and he's living in a home that's worth almost $2 million. And so people are tithing these ministries. And yes, the tithing helps pay for the lights, gas, phone service in there, internet service, air conditioning, electrical upgrades, plumbing. Oh, that's what the tithe is supposed to be for the house, to keep the house intact. So, but if a pastor doesn't have any other job other than being a full-time pastor, but he's living way and beyond the people that he's ministering to, where is he getting all the money to fund a side piece's business, personal business? How can a lead pastor be in charge of monies, tithes that come into the church? A pastor is not supposed to have anything to do with the finances that come into a church in no shape or form. Why? Because they have trustees. Most churches have trustee boards. Okay. And if there is any ministry out here at the sound of my voice, if any ministry, social club, or any other kind of organization, if that organization does not do a monthly trustee report to all the people who pay dues or tithes, they're stealing. Plain and simple. No church should operate without the trustees giving a trustee report to the congregation to let everybody in the church know where their money is going, any investments they're being made. If you remember back in 2016, when I had a channel called the Detroit Bike Blight Patrol, I went all around the city, east, west, southwest, detailing, cataloging abandoned properties and stuff. The Greater Grace Temple owns the golf course at 7 Mile and Berg. It's been an abandoned golf course ever since they bought it. They couldn't get it zoned for what they used it for, so they spent all this money to buy, I guess, to try to use it as a cemetery so they can upcharge people to be buried in a cemetery. But that's just hearsay. But that's what I heard through the grapevine. But for Bishop Ellis to be in charge of one of the most notoriety type churches, that church is well known because it used to be Edgewater Park when I was a child. They bought the land, turned it into a beautiful church over there, except for that abandoned golf course on 7 Mile and Berg. And he's dipping into his flock. And how many times has he done that? How many times has he dipped in to somebody who was a member of his congregation? All right. So this letter of acknowledgement says everything they need to know. So, this coming Sunday, which is the 27th, I believe. Yeah, the 27th. I'm sure church service is going to be real interesting on Sunday. I would love to hear what he has to say. I think I might go stop in and listen to some more lies. He'll probably be excluding have one of his associate pastors minister while he's addressing these allegations. Yeah, from Miss Melody. Okay, I got you. Now, if you remember, uh Charles H. Bishop, Charles H. Ellis has a cousin who's a notoriety type person in Wayne County in the city of Detroit. And that his cousin is Sheriff Raphael Washington. You've heard me say numerous times about Sheriff Raphael Washington. Sheriff Raphael Washington has been sued numerous times by numerous ladies, to include when he was a lieutenant or something with the Detroit Police Department before he came to the sheriff's department, asking the woman to bend over so he could see their panties and everything. Ross Jones has this whole expose on his catalog of interviews and stories on Raphael Washington. And just so you know, Raphael Washington was sued by one of his supervisors, who is still a supervisor on the sheriff's department right now. Her name is Sergeant Lacey Polderdyke. She's out at the mounted division riding horses with a cowboy hat. They had to put her way out there to keep her away from Sheriff Raphael Washington, who is the cousin of Bishop Charles Ellis in the city of Detroit. And Raphael Washington lives in Wayne County, and he's the Wayne County sheriff. You see the connection? You know? Yeah. But y'all keep voting for this guy to be the Wayne County Sheriff, knowing his behavior and plucking subordinates out of the pool for sexual gratification and favors, as in many lawsuits. Charles Bishop Ellis got caught this time, but how many? I bet you there's more than one woman, way more than one woman in that congregation at the Greater Grace Temple that's had a situation with Bishop Charles Ellis. Yeah. All right. Sheriff Raphael Washington is going around passing out ice cream recently on his Facebook page. He's got some publicists running his Facebook page for him, trying to deflect the fact that he was sued multiple times by different people, including subordinates in the sheriff's department. They have a hiring fair, and the hiring pool is not there to bring people in for a sheriff like this. And he walks around like nothing happened. But guess what? That lawsuit is still going down with Miss Regina Parks as we speak. They're trying to do depositions, everything to try to get a lot of people out of the lawsuit, including the Wayne County Executive's Office. And I'm gonna just touch on a few things again in this lawsuit against Sheriff Raphael Washington, the behavior that he did and was alleged by the plaintiff, Regina Parks. He says, defendant Washington touched or struck plaintiff on the buttocks several times, rubbed and touched her stomach, thighs, over and under her clothing, and repeatedly made lewd and sexual comments about plaintiff's appearance and body, including, uh, I didn't know you had all that back there. Sheriff Raphael Washington. This is what's in the lawsuit that was filed by Deborah Gordon Law. Her P number is P27058. Yes, sir. Defendant Washington's history and practice of sexual harassment of the plaintiff and other female employees is well known throughout the county, to include the highest levels of management. A female employee, uh, uh, which is the 2016 lawsuit against Miss Polderdike, she got some money for this conduct. You know, and he made no attempt, to stop it. The county government. It was well known. So he's actively being sued, but he's out here passing out ice cream and stuff. Him and his undersheriff Mike Jafer. Let's not forget about Mike Jafer. He's Raphael Washington's undersheriff on Wayne County. He knows a lot about Raphael Washington's behavior, and I'm gonna get to the person that really knows what's happening. I'm gonna tell you what they did to him. Okay, and so we're gonna get off of Raphael Washington for a hot minute, only to say that um, Raphael Washington is a snake in the grass with his going after. There's certain female officers on the sheriff's department right now at this very moment that cannot be touched because of his interaction with them. It's hard for the sheriff sergeants, lieutenants, and commanders to discipline these particular officers because he had interaction with them and they feel so emboldened because they were had a improper communication and stuff with them that they can't be touched or disciplined by supervision within the department. Hmm. Yeah. So again, you see the connection. They're both cousins. Okay. But he's not elected, but his church can get him out if they want to. The citizens of Wayne County can get this sheriff out of here, but they want to. But right now, he's buying pots of food, going to senior communities, serving up greens, spaghetti, and stuff like that, trying to deflect the fact that he's been accused of many different sexual indiscretions within the department with female civilian staff and subordinates. And not to forget Robert Dunlap, who's the three-star chief with the Wayne County Sheriff's Department, who works underneath Sheriff Raphael Washington. He has a harassment history too. And all these people are on the Wayne County payroll getting paid. Okay, they're out here. And let me tell the citizens something about the Wayne County Sheriff's Department that you didn't know. They got an aggressive hiring campaign going on. And if you look on the website, sheriffsconnect.org, they have these fantastic advertisements about all these jobs that you can possibly work if you get hired by the sheriff's department. The mounted unit, SWAT, otherwise known as Special Response Unit, SRT, the Marine unit, riding the boats, riding the motorcycles with the motor unit. You need to know one thing. Most new hires, when you get hired, you will never see none of those units once you get hired with the sheriff's department, because all those units are filled with hand-picked individuals by Sheriff Raphael Washington, Robert Dunlap, chief deputy, and his undersheriff Mike Jafer. So when you get hired, don't let those hiring advertisements fool you, with the sheriff's department, thinking that you're going to be working assigned to the road patrol. I worked all those units way before all these three stooges ended up with the sheriff's department. The Three Stooges. All right. But new hires, don't get caught up in those hiring videos that you see, because more than likely you will never see those units because they are filled with discretionary people. They create these jobs and try to keep them discretionary so they can go around the sheriff's union, which is the Wayne County Deputy Sheriff's Association. So these are hand-picked individuals who donate their time, they donate their money, they purchase their own equipment to make them put themselves in a better light to be selected by these jobs. Now, if there's anybody on the sheriff's department, current and former, who has a problem with what I say, rebuttal me. And it's kind of hard to do that when you had someone who worked in over 20 something units in the sheriff's department over a 30-year period. And that's me. So I know exactly what I'm talking about, you know, with a plus or minus of 5%. Yeah. Now, let me get into a situation closing out this Wayne County Sheriff situation and his cousin Bishop Ellis situation. There is two honorable men I'm going to talk about right now. The first man is Mr. Michael Turner, Mike Turner. This is Mr. Mike Turner. Mr. Mike Turner is a man of labor. His entire work history in life revolved around labor. He was the only person really on the sheriff's department, aside from the late great Sheriff Benny Napoleon, that the deputy sheriff's union could talk to. When Benny Napoleon got appointed to be the sheriff and ultimately got elected, Mr. Mike Turner was at uh, Benny Napoleon's side for everything. He was his closest advisor. He never revealed confidential conversations. He never tried to throw anybody under the bus. He tried to help people. And that's why Benny Napoleon made him his chief of staff. And for good reason. He has a relationship with the NAACP, the UAW, SEIU, all the important unions that help out employees. He was the go between the sheriff and the Wayne County Deputy Sheriff's Association on many issues involving officers. And despite any personal information where it was helpful or damaging, this man had strict confidentiality. And that's why he was Benny Napoleon's chief of staff for the Wayne County Sheriff's Department until late great Benny Napoleon died. And then when Benny Napoleon passed away, Raphael Washington got the appointment from uh, a three-person panel to be appointed. Then he was ultimately elected because people didn't know the truth about him like they do now. So he still remained the chief of staff, but he became the chief of staff for Raphael Washington. And during his entire time as the chief of staff for Raphael Washington, Mike Turner was trying to protect the Wayne County Sheriff's Department. He was trying to save the reputation of the Wayne County and some employees from the behavior of Raphael Washington. He was not a liar. Raphael Washington threw him under the bus within about a month or so ago, released him as being his chief of staff. Why? Because the lawsuit that was filed by Miss Regina Parks about the grabbing of the thighs, and he knew about Raphael Washington's behavior. He tried to be a mediator, I'm sure the honorable man that I know Mr. Turner to be had conversations with his boss and say, hey, man, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Stop it. You need to stop now. It's out of control. Every time Raphael Washington had an issue with a female subordinate, he knew about it and he put a stop to it the best he could. But when this Regina Parks lawsuit came out, it put him in a bad position because she came to him for help because she knew the honorable man that Mr. Mike Turner was. She knew that he had influence with the sheriff, but his interaction and intervention did not work because Raphael Washington felt that he was the sheriff and he's the head. He gonna do what he want to do. So Mike Turner was in a bad situation. It appeared one minute he was helping Miss Parks, and one minute it felt like he was siding with Raphael. Why he was trying to play both ends, when he should have just referred her to an attorney and took himself out of it. But Raphael Washington just recently replaced this guy, Mike Turner, as his chief of staff. And I'm sure when he released him as chief, I'm sure it was partly him stepping down, and it's probably partly him not wanting him to be his chief of staff anymore because of the Regina Parks lawsuit. Well, guess what? This man knows so much stuff about the Wayne County Sheriff's Department dirt. If Benny Napoleon had some, the world would never know it because he is a confidential individual. He knows a lot of stuff about Raphael Washington more than most people, but he always kept his mouth shut because that's what an honorable man does. He was his chief of staff. But because of that lawsuit, and if they depose him in the lawsuit, which they will, he has no reason to do anything other than what he's always done, which is tell the truth. And Raphael Washington is an idiot. You ever heard of keep your friends close, but your enemies closer? That's what Raphael Washington. I'm sure when the lawyers found out that he let him go as as his chief of staff, he was like, "Oh God, now you got this guy out here as a loose cannon because he had health insurance for his wife while he was employed as the chief of staff. His wife is not well. And I'm sure that insurance really helped out his wife. But you think Raphael Washington cared about that? Nah, I'm going to get rid of him and get me a flunky to be my new chief of staff. Well, when they get through deposing this guy, this Regina Parks lawsuit is not going to trial. This man right here is an honorable man. If I had a business, I would hire this guy. If I had a big company, a corporation, I would hire this guy, Mr. Mike Turner, to be that guy for me because I know that he's going to cover me, he's going to protect me, and do everything he could to help me in my time of trouble. But he was torn between trying to help out a man who's constantly getting hit with allegations against women in the department and in the community, Sheriff Raphael Washington. So Mr. Mike Turner did not deserve what he got. And I really hope that he's secured some insurance and stuff for his wife, because Raphael Washington put him in a bad place. So, Mr. Mike Turner, I know you a solid guy. I know that about you. I've shook your hand many a times. The sheriff's union has praised you for being a mediator during times of controversy and trouble. This guy right here is a valuable person to anybody. And that's coming from the wood dog. Because, like I'ma just keep it real. Yeah. Now the next thing, the last thing I'm gonna talk about is the Detroit police chief, Mr. Todd Bettison, another honorable man. Um, Police Chief Todd Bettison. He was appointed by Mike Duggan uh, to take over as police chief, and he's been doing one hell of a job. He went to as you know, a lot of people know I'm a biker, and he came to a big bike function on Livernois and Joy Road, gave one hell of a spill to all the brothers riding Harleys and any other kind of motorcycle. He broke it down and he kept it real with us, you know, and um he's out in the community on Wednesdays like his predecessor did, Mr. James White, who moved on to the mental health side of the fence because he has multiple degrees in mental health. He turned over everything to his buddy and he's ran off with it. You know, he was a plug and play police chief, Mr. Todd Bettison. And the only thing that's disturbing to me uh, about Todd Bettison is the fact that Sheriff Raphael Washington is trying to cozy up to Mr. Todd Bettison and what he's doing in the city of Detroit. You know, it's he doesn't nobody needs to be around this man because when that lawsuit comes down and they settle that shit, you know, you're gonna see a different light in Wayne County. But this chief right here is one of the best chiefs we've had, next to James White. And give it, say what you want about James Craig. When he came in, he was that guy all the way up until he decided to go into politics. But that's neither here nor there. He's trying to run for governor. Good luck with that, brother. But he was a good chief too. But he's better. You can approach him. You can walk up on him and say what you want to say. And if it makes sense, he's going to roll with it. And he appointed an assistant chief named Franklin Hayes Jr. Mr. Assistant Chief Franklin Hayes Jr. is no joke. I'm gonna try to stick to my 30 minutes. I'm at 32 minutes. But Franklin, I don't have a picture of Franklin Hayes, but I know him personally. I know him from my childhood. We grew up together. Our fathers are best friends. Franklin Hayes Jr. is doing the community a favor by shutting down all these illegal establishments in the city where minors have no place being. And when he alerts his chief of police, Mr. Todd Bettison, of these locations, they jump right on it. They do not kick the can down the road. So, yeah, he got the peace sign up. I'm throwing it up for you, Chief Bettison. And Mr. Franklin Hayes, I'm throwing the peace sign up for you too, brother. So just keep doing what you're doing, and we're not going to get uh, too far off the track, but I want to backtrack before I shut this down because I'm the wood dog and I just keep it real. But Bishop Ellis needs to step down from the Greater Grace Temple. He needs to step all the way down. And like I said, Sunday service is going to be real good, interesting on the 27th. You know, it's going to be real interesting because it happened and he made an admission. He made an admission to what he was doing with that young lady in this letter to the public, you know. So with that, he needs to step down. That's one of the largest churches in the city, you know. And you know, how can you sit there and have a man minister to you about how you should obey the word, you know, how you should govern your life and your family and your kids when he has a family, but he's paying for businesses for his other situations with women like Melody. He didn't even deny it. He figured he could pray his way out of it. The church congregation is going to forgive him out of it. And if you do, you're condoning his behavior. He needs to be given his walking papers. Because, like I said, this man's living a lot better than most of the people in his congregation. You know, some of these pastors in the city of Detroit, they have some of the largest churches and congregations, but they don't live in the city of Detroit. They don't even live nowhere near where they're preaching, you know. And it's not to say that a person can't live where they want, but he has a choice to live where he wants, and he lives way out there, way better than most people. He don't have just a $1 million house, not a $2 million. It's a $3 million house. Some of the realtors that I talk to. Now, in closing, um, the wood dog is going to admit a fault. And a dear friend of mine, her initials are LW. And I want to thank you for correcting my way of thinking. I want to thank you, Miss LW, for putting me in check on a situation that I was wrong about. And and I want to thank you for it. And there's no reason to say anything else other than the initials of LW, but she knows who she is. She corrected me on something, and I'm all better for it. All right, this is the end of my segment. This is the Wood Dog. And as you know, I just keep it real because keeping it real is the only thing that I know how to do. And I want to thank all of you for listening. And please like and subscribe to my channel because it helps out my channel and keeps my content going. So hit that like and share. And I want to thank each and every one of you. And please share this information with anybody you need to and want to. Thank you.